So friends, what we have done is we have seen some 100 fill in the blanks, which is more like our MCQs. We are now understanding slowly what are valid contracts, void contracts, voidable contracts, what are free consent, what are elements vitiating free consent like coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake, rules of offer, rules of acceptance. What are the examples for invitation to offer? We are understanding everything slowly and steadily. Guys, please understand what I am trying to do. I am doing more like a reverse psychology. What is reverse psychology? First, usually what people will do, they will tell all the concepts relating to it and then go to the MCQs. I take you through the MCQs and then connecting with the concept. So I'm doing something called reverse psychology, which will be highly beneficial, which I will do for almost all the classes. So that's very, very important for you to understand. Yes. Now let's go inside and see one after another. An agreement is void if it is opposed to public policy. Which of the following does not cover under this head? That means what? There is no opposition to public policy when there are something called impossible acts. It is not possible at all to do. So it will never be a problem in saying that it is void. Void means what? It cannot be enforceable in the court of law. You should also understand one thing. Void is cannot be enforceable in the court of law. Void ab initio. VOID-ABINITIO. Void ab initio means right from the beginning it cannot be enforceable. All that we will study, but just I am taking you through. Consensus ad item. We already told you. Meeting the minds of the people. We both understand in the same sense. Next. Parents of the guardian shall not be held liable for the breach of contract by minor. Minor means 18 years less than that. Correct? So, guardians or the parents will not be liable if there is a contract entered by minor. For a simple reason, when you enter into a contract with minor, it is void ab initio. It is right from the beginning void. So they will not be liable for any non-fulfillment of an obligation. Parents or guardians will not come under the picture. Are you clear? Next is coercion. Coercion means influencing or threatening you. Threatening you. Now, you know me, I know you. So we both are parent, we both are more like a teacher and student, correct? So the point is we have at least a relationship to be spoken. Now, if some third party is coming and threatening and say, if you next time do this, I will kill you. That means from a unknown party, it is called coercion. Coercion is otherwise called duress. Coercion is otherwise called duress. They will ask this in the examination. So what I am doing, I am marking it in green. Everything is important only, guys. I am not saying no. You cannot say, sir, others and all, will it not be important? Everything is important. But this and all, if you concentrate more, you will be able to study it better. Coercion, that's very important. Next point. X offers to sell a painting to Z, which X knows is the copy of a well-known masterpiece. Yes, are you getting the story? X offers to sell a painting to Z, which X knows is the copy of a well-known masterpiece. It's already a duplicate. Z, thinking the painting is original, decides to buy it at a very higher price. Is this a valid contract? The answer is yes. Z has an erroneous belief as to the value of the painting. Now, whose problem is this? It is the problem of Z. If he assumes we will not be able to help beyond, and he will get a good title on the painting, so there is no problem. Because it is a copy of another one, that does not mean Z will not be taking up a responsibility on that. This is a very simple point. This is more like a common sense point. So let's not go beyond this. Next. X agrees to pay Y rupees 1000 if Y delivers a judgment in his favor in a suit. Y does so, but X refuses to pay any money. Now, already these people are doing a wrong thing, correct? Now, you cannot ask the other person to be very responsible because you are already doing something opposed to public policy. See the point here, the agreement is void. Now, when you read itself, you will know whether it is positive or negative point. This is more negative. So it is void. Void means cannot be enforceable in the court of law. So it is opposed to public policy. You cannot go because both of them are fraudulent fellows. Correct? So the activity is not lawful activity. So you will never take this. Next point. In case, though the husband was a divorcee, he did not disclose the fraud of his previous marriage to his wife-in-laws. Is that a good one? Is that a coercion? No, no threatening. Is that an undue influence? No. There is a good relationship, but nobody is threatening there. Is that a fraud? Yes. Is that a fraud? Yes. What is fraud? Fraud, very simply, you will understand it is intentional misrepresentation. You know that you are doing a wrongful activity. Intentionally you do. So it is nothing but your intentional misrepresentation, which is nothing but your fraud. Are you clear? Next, the mortgage was executed in favor of minor. Can the minor get a degree for the enforcement of mortgage? Yes. See, the point is they are not liable to have a contract, but whatever the beneficiaries or benefits of a minor, they will be able to manage it very easily. So you can get a result out of it when there is a minor. So beneficial interest will be possible. Yes. Next point, where an agreement consists of two parts, one legal, another illegal. The legal part is separable from illegal one, then the legal part is valid. If it is not separable, it is fully invalid. You have a good activity. For example, A wants to give something to B legally. B is a fraud fellow. B does something to C. So A to B is legal and B to C is illegal. If I'm able to separate this, A to B contract is valid, B to C contract is invalid. Are you clear? So the point is you cannot say the whole activity is invalid because I am good and I give a good title to B. So I do not know B is fraud and I don't bother whether B is fraud or not. When he wants to give it to C, that is fraud means A to B contract will not become invalid. It will become valid only. Simple common sense point. So are we clear? Next point. An agreement entered into with free consent and lawful, but with the inadequate consideration is valid. I told you iPhone example, you remember? In the moment when you say inadequate consideration, you can remember the iPhone example I told you. 40,000 rupees mobile, you can sell it anytime after at a lesser price. Inadequate only consideration, but it is valid. Next, see, an illiterate old woman made a gift deed for practically her entire property to her nephew who managed her affairs. This gift can be set aside on the grounds of undue influence because it is relationship. We call it as relationship involved. Relationship. Now, the moment when I say relationship, there is a blood relationship also involved and there is a pecuniary relationship also involved. Now, what is this pecuniary relationship? Pecuniary relationship is very simple. Teacher, student, doctor, patient, master, servant. They are not blood relations, but still you have a connect between their relationship and they call it as pecuniary relationship. So this is normal undue influence only. Next point, a sum of money was agreed to be paid to the father in consideration of his giving his daughter in marriage. Now, is this good? Now, what they are saying, if you give the daughter to some other person, I will give you consideration. So that is not a good one because that's called marriage brokerage contract. In the contract, Indian Contract Act, they call it as marriage brokerage. Now that is not good. If you give the daughter to some other person, I will give you money because that is not a good relationship. That is not a good way of covering. So they are breaking the whole thing. Marriage brokerage contract is void. So the agreement is automatically void. Automatically, you will be able to know that this concept you should remember. So I'll mark it in green. Marriage brokerage contract. I told you minus agreement, everything is void ab initio. Void ab initio. That means what? Void right from the beginning. See what I'm writing. Void right from the beginning. Are you clear? Yes. Next, N threatens L's wife that their son M may be abducted if L did not lease out. Directly son relationship, directly a third person, through the third person, that son is going to be threatened. N is threatening L's wife. N is someone. L's wife is someone and L's son is being abducted. So it is between the third party. So it is coercion. So what I will write here, it is third party. Why I am saying third party? Because N is different. N is another family and L is another family. Between L, now let's take for an example. L's wife threatens her son, saying that if you don't do properly, I will not give you this particular property. Like that, if she is saying it is within the family, known people, it becomes undue influence. Now it is some other person, so it becomes coercion. Are you clear? Easy? Yes. Next, A fraudulently informs B that his house is free from encumbrances. Fraudulently, openly he told. Now, what is the right? Here, the option A and option B is intentional misrepresentation and it is fraud. Yes, both A and B. Why I did not give the option? Because when you read the option itself, is going to be very, very simple, not a big deal to remember. The most important thing, what is the case law for minors agreement being void ab initio? The case law name is Mohori BB versus Dharmadas Ghosh. They will ask you this in the exam. Void ab initio, everybody knows. What is the case law? Who are the two people fought against each other to say minors agreement is void ab initio? The answer is Mohori BB versus Dharmadas Ghosh. Very important, so you can try to remember that. Are we clear? Which of the following agreements are declared void? Agreement in restraint of marriage. I told you, remember, marriage brokerage contracts. So that they can ask you. Which contracts are not wagering contracts? The is very simple answer is speculative activity. So I'm marking this in yellow. So this is a normal point. This and all is normal point. Green alone is to be important. Wagering means what? Betting. Speculating is not betting. It is like share trading. It is allowed. It is valid as per the act. Example, I am saying share trading. Easy to remember. Now, lottery selling is your wagering, because in our state of Tamil Nadu, it is not allowed. In the state of Kerala, it is allowed. So it depends on which particular state it is like that. So wagering agreements are void. Speculative is valid. Please make this really strong. So I'm marking this alone in the green color, because it is going to be allowed for this, followed for one state, not allowed. Here, for everyone, it is valid. Are you clear? So what is the next one? Which of the following statement is false? Now, this is not an important point because they are not going to ask this. So what I'm doing, I'm marking it in a dark color, not required. See the next one. An agreement in restraint of a legal proceeding is void. Correct. So there is no point. It does not cover an agreement with providing for a reference of arbitration instead of court of law. Now, this also is going to be so very tough. They are not going to ask you this from your perspective. So it is not going to be covered. A minor can do which are the following things. He can be involved in any contract. He can be with a benefit. He can, when he becomes a major, he can continue with the contract. So these are the three options. Again, not a big point to be remembered. Are you clear? When something is not very crucial, I put it in a light black color, so you don't need to bother about it. Now, when there is an Indian law, if you make a mistake, is that valid? The answer is yes. If there is a foreign law, if you make a mistake, is that valid? No, it is void. So this I am making it, marking it very strong. Now, what is that they are trying to say? In our country, if there is a problem, if there is a valid statement or a void statement, valid. For Indian law mistake, it is going to be valid. For your foreign law mistake, it is going to be void. In our country, if there is anything that you do not know, then that is fine. That's okay. No issues. But when it comes to the foreign law, it is not enforceable in the court of law. it is going to be void. So that's very important. So here itself, 2 points are getting covered. Indian law mistake, valid. Foreign law mistake, void. Please write it and keep it. Anyways, this we are going to make it strong. Here itself we told you, remember, foreign law mistake, void. Are you able to see? Are you able to see this green color that I'm marking? Indian law mistake, valid. Unilateral mistake, valid. Foreign law mistake, void. Bilateral mistake, void. Easy, no? So just like that, in 2 seconds, we'll be able to get this. There is one jargon called uperima fidei. That means what they will ask you, utmost good faith. I have done it in good faith only. So I'm marking it in green color, very important. Very important for your exams. Which of the statement is correct? Is not correct. A threat to commit suicide does not amount to coercion. Is that not correct? No, it is correct. If I say, if next time you do like this, I will commit suicide, if you say, means that becomes more a coercion. Coercion means it is going to be a threatening from the outside party angle. That is bad. Undue influence involves use of physical pressure. That is definitely answer is right. So 2 is correct. Ignorance of law is not excuse. Is correct. In the point is, you will never be considered. Silence always amounts to fraud is not correct. No, it is correct. So the point is, they are asking a indirect negative question. Which of the following is not correct? Does not amount to coercion? No, it amounts to coercion. Undue influence use of physical pressure may or may not be. Silence always amounts to fraud? Yes. So accordingly, you should understand what is important, what is not important. Are you clear? I'll again repeat. Coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake. Here they are saying which of the following is not correct. First is not correct. Second is not correct because only use of physical pressure, not correct. Silence always amounts to fraud. Silence when it is equivalent to speech only is amounting to fraud. Otherwise, it is not amounting to fraud. So the point you will have to understand is 1, 2, and 4 is not correct. Are you clear? So not necessary, it should only be use of physical pressure. It can also be something else. Silence always amounts to fraud, not correct. That always only is the keyword. See here, involves use. This alone is not the one. It can also be anything. Always may not be correct. So this alone, it is going to be there. Silence amounts to fraud is fine. Always amounts to fraud, not correct. Definitely, it does not amount to coercion. It's wrong. It amounts to coercion only. So these negative points, if you underline, then you know 1, 2, and 4 is there. Ignorance of law is no excuse. It is correct. So there is no problem inside that. Next, can the person who is usually of unsound mind, occasionally of sound mind, can make a contract? Yes. See, please understand. Jan to June, I am sound mind. July to December, I am unsound. Can they enter into contract with me from Jan to June? The contract act says yes. Only when he is of sound mind. Jan to June, I am sound, you can enter. Are you clear? I'll mark this in green color. Please write this and keep it strong. Next, pre-assumption of undue influence does not exist. There is no pre-assumption between husband and wife. Though there is no blood relationship, may not be a blood relationship between husband and wife. It does not, you cannot pre-assume everything is going to be there. Yes. Next, minus estate is liable for necessaries. Very important point. Now, directly contract entering only is not allowed. Necessaries, you can take it from the minus estate. I will again repeat. Minus estate is liable for the necessaries applied to him. There is no problem. You can take it forward. Next, in which of the following agreements restraints of trade is valid? Now, this will not be an important question because the options were not good. Okay. Yes. Here also we can ensure that we are removing this because these points are not important to be covered. Next is very important. In a contract where both the parties believe that the subject matter of contract is in existence, but which in fact not in existence, the agreement shall be void. Why? Because which the fact, in fact, it is not in existence. Both the parties have done wrong. So it is not a mistake from one side, it is mistake from two sides. Bilateral mistake. Bilateral mistake is valid or void? It is void. So important for exam. Are you clear? So these are the points that we need to consider right now. Now, almost 1:30 we have completed. Why I am stopping this video for this particular? Because this 30 were not so easy. It was taking some points for us to explain. So what we will do, we'll stop here for this particular video. We'll continue in the next session to see what is going to be there for the remaining concepts relating to Indian Contract Act. Are we clear? So this we will stop here for this video.